Welcome back to the Webby O'Neill channel. Plenty of Manchester United news to get through today, including the new plans for Old Trafford, plus injury updates on Harry and Maguire, plus anything and everything that you want to talk about. So get involved in the chat as always, Reds, and we do want to try and get you involved and read some of your comments out today. But first of all, how was your weekend? Did you watch any of that England-Brazil game?
I didn't watch any football. I just had a nice, relaxing weekend. Couldn't put myself to watching 90 minutes of that and any other football, really. I'm really missing United. I seem to feel as though after that Liverpool game, I want more. And I can't seem to watch anything else or get into it. So, nice, quiet weekend. But, you know, another week to go.
Yeah, obviously Harry Maguire did limp off in that game from reports that I've read. There's still no actual news on what the injury was, but it looks like mounting injuries again for Manchester United, possibly.
Yeah, mounting injuries, and it seems to all be at the back, centre-halves, full-backs. He came off in the 67th minute. England give him a scan, and he's out of the England team for Tuesday night, back at Old Trafford. But the annoying thing again, when it comes to injuries with Man United, we don't get a clear look at what the problem is. One or two players, obviously, with Martinez, you know it's a knee. Some of the other players, Malacia seems to be going on and on and on. But with Maguire, it's just adding to the long injury list we've been getting all season. Could be a problem when it comes to the Brentford game.
Yeah, going on to the more updated news in that Man United, sorry, apologies. Man United bring in stadium designers Populous as Sir Jim Ratcliffe's ponders 100,000 capacity new Old Trafford. What's your first thoughts on this?
Well, there's plenty of reports out there talking about Populous now, taking it ahead, being in charge, looking forward to either doing the ground up, but the word out there, it seems to be, with all the reports, that it's going to be a new ground. So Jim Ratcliffe has no problems with a new ground being built. He believes he's got enough ground there to do it. And I think that's the way they're going to go, especially with all these reports coming out now, little chit-chats here and there. So to me, it's a new ground. If you look, and I did mention it the other week, one or two companies what are behind Old Trafford there, they've been either pushed out now or they're getting pushed out within 12 months.
You mean they've been given notice?
Yeah, they've all been given notice to terminate, and they're out. So all the ground is there. So they have no problem building a new ground.
How do you know this news anyway? Where have you heard this? So certain companies round the back, do you mean?
Yeah, certain companies. You've got Daytona. They're out. They were given 2 days' notice. There's another
the go-karting place. I've actually been there a few times as well. It's a decent actual day out, to be honest.
Yeah, the go-karting place, they're out. There's another haulage firm there. Then you've got the other buildings there, you know. So the end of the day, they're all on notice to get out. Some have got out now. Some are due to get out. So the ground, the amount of ground to build on is there. And my only concern, and I think other people's concern, is the money. Is it there? Because I didn't like how it was presented a few months ago about getting the money, and that's still on the table of where is the money coming from. But Populous, they look as though they've looked at the refurbishment of the ground, that there's many options to do that, but also on the table, as we know, you all know out there, that there's an option to build. And I think that is the way it's going to go now.
Yeah, in an interview with the Times Sport, I found it with Populous Chief Executive Chris Lee back in January, and he was asked about, you know, Manchester United, Old Trafford, a new stadium, or would it be refurbished? And he did say, well, I would say this, wouldn't I? But I feel the new build may well turn out to be the most cost-effective solution. Yes, the initial outlay is obviously the highest of the three options, but there is so much land available to develop there. They, meaning Manchester United, could carry on using the existing ground while building work is underway, meaning no decline in matchday revenues.
Well, that's the thing, innit? Old Trafford would still be there, and I think Old Trafford would still be there after the new stadium's built. I think it would be used. Conversations I've spoken to is that everyone will be using Old Trafford, like the women's team and lots of other outlets using the ground. So staying there, full ground, rebuild right behind it. It's a no-brainer to me. That's the way. And I think, looking at everything, that's the way it's going to be. It's just the money. You know, I've heard 1 billion to refurbish, 3 billion to build. But as we know in the world, you can put a price down at 3 billion to build a new stadium and it'll rise to 4. We know why he's got people on board, and that's to try and get the government involved in looking at the infrastructure and putting money towards it.
Well, it did say in that interview, he said on a new stadium, a state-of-the-art stadium, it cost roughly 2 billion, whereas he said if a refurbishment of Old Trafford could take up to 67 years to be completed and at a cost of 800 million. And it did say also in that report, from an architect's view, the space available, you could do something really innovative and exciting. There would be no space constrictions. We've done the work with Legends to look at all the feasible options, multiple different versions of renovations of Old Trafford, and also what new build could potentially look like. All of it focused on how we can create an amazing fan experience. Manchester United are very focused on that.
I think, you know, looking at it, listening not just now to the words and the reports out there, you've got to go back. I think you have to listen to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and he is looking at a new ground. Innovation, everything there for you. You can only do that, as far as I'm concerned, and a lot of other people out there, is to build a new ground. United's ground, Old Trafford, will not get knocked down. Loss of revenue and everything is massive. So it's not just the build and the cost of the build, it's, well, where do we play and everything else like that. So knocking Old Trafford down and building there is not the option, because the ground is available to be built on the land United already own. And it's just a matter of like clearing that and then waiting for the funds to come through. That's how I see it. And that's the route it's going to go.
Yeah, let us know out there what you'd prefer. If you have got a preference, would you like to see Old Trafford as it currently is, just refurbished, or would you like to actually see a new state-of-the-art stadium built on the land just across from Old Trafford? But just let us know what you think in the comments.
It's what I would go for, to be honest with you. I keep swapping, but when the reports come out, I'd go for a new ground, mate. I would.
Why?
The land's there. It's cost-effective, everything. Fan experience, you name it, the lot.
But you could do that with Old Trafford if the actual plans, what they've put on the table, would actually then result in a state-of-the-art stadium.
No, I don't think it'd be top-notch, the best. I think starting from scratch, brand new, going forward, the generations what are coming behind us. I think that's what they deserve, to be honest with you. Brand new, yes. It's not Old Trafford, it's a new stadium, but Old Trafford will still be there. That's the conversations what are going round. So to me, having Old Trafford still there, still be nice to have it there, do you know what I mean? So for me, I'm going on a new stadium now. That's how I see it. I
couldn't imagine him, though, if they built a new state-of-the-art stadium on a different site, that they'd still keep Old Trafford as it is, the stadium, surely. Well, so what would be the options there? Would they maybe flatten it, put, you know, some retail stuff there to do with Manchester United? Would they build hotels there? I'm not sure, but they've got options there because of the size of the land.
Well, they've got options, and at the end of the day, if it can still be there while a new stadium's being built, you just don't know which way it's going to go. But as I say, my preference now, I've got a back and forth, like lots of people out there. But going forward, I do see that if it's built just behind Old Trafford with all that land available, that for me, I'm fine with it. Brand new, that's the way forward.
Yeah, a task force was set up earlier this month to explore the club's options, with former United captain Gary Neville, Lord Sebastian Coe, and the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, all involved. And Gary Neville admitted the commercial aspect will ultimately be the deciding factor for Sir Jim Ratcliffe.
Yeah,
not what the fans want.
Yeah.
It's the commercial aspect.
It's all commercial, isn't it? Brand new stadium, commercial, brings in, it'll just bring in the revenue like you wouldn't believe it. I mean, I can't envisage how much it's going to bring in, what they'll charge and everything else. So to me, it's all commercial. This is what football is. You have to remember who we are. You know, are we football fans? I keep saying we're customers. That's what football's driven now. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe knows the commercial side of it. He has already stated that the money is coming from the TV. That's the revenue. Overseas, that's going to expand. That's going to get bigger and bigger. So of course he's commercial. He doesn't want to make a profit. We've heard him say that. I don't believe that. You know, it's a businessman. His company's in there. he'll get a profit out of it at the end of the day. So some of the things you hear, you have to take with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, if there was to refurbish Old Trafford, what would be the options in how they would start that? Would they just then take out the south stand straight away and then just use it on a match day with a reduced capacity?
Done that before.
Yeah.
I've been inside that ground while it's been rebuilt. Do you know what I mean? At all sides. To me, they start with the south stand, just completely knock it down. But a lot of hurdles to jump through there with the railways. Lots of different companies, houses at the back, you name it, the lot. But the plans are there. So at the end of the day, to get the go-ahead, right, I think the go-ahead will be for a new ground. And it all depends on money. And when you talk about money, $1 billion, $3 billion, no. Like I say, take them with a pinch of salt. Them costs will get higher and higher and higher as time goes on.
So your preference is for a new state-of-the-art stadium?
It is now. I've talked to lots of people. I've spoke to people this morning, to be honest, and I'm going that way. That's what I prefer. Yes, I've got my history with Man United, all that, but at the end of the day, I've got my history in the Stretford end, got my history in the scoreboard end when it used to be an open end. Change is change, and change is good.
But change is a little bit different with this, though, isn't it? Because it's a totally different stadium as well. It's not as though we're still having the matchday experience in Old Trafford as it is now. It will be on a different location, a different site.
You talk about matchday, yeah, different site. It's the way of the world. It's what needs to be done going forward, as I see it. At the end of the day, matchday experience. My matchday experience was stood on an open end in the scoreboard end as a young boy, right? And then the Stretford end, raining, freezing. That's how it was. Move on. At the end of the day, memories are memories, and it's nice to have memories. And it's also nice to look forward to something brand spanking new for the generations coming through.
McCypher, cheers for super chat, mate. He says, fans go to see OT, refurb and build fan experience outside. I'm not too sure what you exactly mean by that with the fan experience outside.
Well, the thing is that things need to change outside. Yeah. I mean, if you look, you go to a few places and there's things to do and everything else like that. People just tend to walk down. You come off the motorway, you're coming in from the Trafford area, or you're coming in for town, and it's jammed. The roads and the traffic is horrendous before and after the game. Things you need to get here earlier, and they want to put things out there. There will be shops, there will be hotels, there will be other amenities being built, and that's what that working group's for. To bring in the infrastructure for the roads and everything. So everything around has to change, and it has to change, and you have to look forward to the next 100 years. If this stays as it is all round here with all the houses and the way it is and the buildings and the shops and it's not what it should be for a first-class environment in and around Old Trafford. It has to change.
Yeah, Dan Fenton says, I would like to get Old Trafford done up, refurbished. Let us know what your thoughts are out there, everyone else as well. A new state-of-the-art ground on a different site, or would you like to see Old Trafford refurbished?
I'm not against refurbishing, right? But then that's my own things. I look all around and I look at my grandson, my granddaughter, their kids and all that, what they want and what they expect. The world is
my kids.
Yeah, your kids, yeah, I forgot, yeah, your kids, yeah.
It's just sat here next to you.
Yeah, so that's how I look at it. Yeah, self-interest.
Kids that aren't even born yet but are going to be Manchester United fans.
Yeah, but look, when you look at it, even refurbing it's going to take years and years. I'd rather just bump, scratch, get it done, move in there, and away we go.
Yeah, the chief executive before and what I wrote out, he did say it was going to take maybe 6 to 7 years to have it completed on a refurbishment of just Old Trafford, whereas a new state-of-the-art stadium, it seems to think it'd be done in a lot less time as well.
Yeah, it will be done in a lot less time. Flat land, away we go, and it just comes in. But refurbing it, there's a lot of hurdles to jump over, and it could take years just to get the planning authority. But hey, that's their problem. We're just here, we're waiting, and we just want to know which way it's going.
Yeah, Neil Marshall says, and it's a good point, it's something that I've thought of quite a bit, to be honest, and he says, as long as the pitch is not 30 yards from the stands, and you get that with a lot of the new stadiums, don't you? West Ham comes to mind where you think, yeah, you're not right on the pitch, are you?
I think if you look at that Tottenham ground, I think they've got it right. The way they've got the main stand there with all the fans, those with the voice, where they put the away fans and everything. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And Populous there, that they built that. They designed it, and they designed it with the acoustics in mind and everything. And I think the same would be here. But United's ground, the new one, would be bigger and better than what is out there, and it would be the best stadium in the world.
Yeah, let us know what your fan experiences are like as well, and what ground you've been to in the UK or around the world, what you'd like to see a new state-of-the-art ground look like, or a comparison to, because I always put Bayern Munich's at the top of my list, and the fan experience, the atmosphere. Every time I've been there, I've been with you.
Yeah.
The atmosphere in there, wow.
Yeah,
it's like it's constantly ringing in your head, constantly throughout the 90 minutes, and it's a great buzz in there.
Yeah, but my problem with that stadium, it looks great. There's no two ways about it. It looks great, but it's soulless outside. That's how I feel. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think they want to bring in a bit of soul in and around the ground. Yes,
to generate like a community feel as well. Do you mean, or just more emphasis on a match day experience?
Match day experience, the commercial side of it.
Yeah,
they want to bring people in here, not just on a match day. They want to bring people here 7 days a week. That's how I think they're going to look at it. Get them here 7 days a week. People are coming from all over the world. Even today outside, they're there. So that's what they want. They want to give people something 7 days a week.
Would you try and put something else in and around the land as well? Maybe, new training facilities, a smaller ground maybe for the youth team, the academies, maybe the women's team, or would you just have it mainly on like the men's team?
No, I'd put a kiosk up there named Tony O'Neill. Get your hamburgers here. That's what I would look for.
How much would you charge, though?
Me?
You've got to go less than everyone else, surely.
A fair rate, that's what I would charge. Yeah. A fair rate. But
burgers and chips and a can of Coke, a meal deal.
Yeah, keep it low key. That's what I'd do. No, they bring everything in, but it's not a development just for the fans. You have to remember that it's a development for everybody for 7 days a week. And let's hope they get it right.
Yeah, let's hope they get it right. There's lots of different opinions, to be fair, in the chat. But if you've not had your opinion yet, get yours in, because we want to read it. I've seen some news again today. I'm sure a lot of yous out there have as well, regarding a possible this UEFA ban, where there'll be a conflict with Manchester United and Nice if they qualify for the same European competition this season or in the future. But what's your thoughts on this?
Well, I've read a couple of reports on it, and I'd be absolutely gobsmacked if these reports are true, that United might not be able to get into Europe because of Jim Ratcliffe's involvement with Manchester United. I go back to the conversation he had about this subject a while ago. I can't see Sir Jim Ratcliffe walking into Manchester United and not having this sorted out. Yeah. To me, it'd be absolutely madness for Sir Jim Ratcliffe to spend all this time, all this money, not to do his due diligence with UEFA on the rules and everything. And as I see it, as a layman, I don't know the facts and everything, don't really know UEFA's rules 100% and all that, but the basic facts as a layman, I see it, he's not an owner, he's a shareholder. Maybe people might be making different numbers out of this because Sir Jim Ratcliffe was going to be a shareholder. Now Sir Jim Ratcliffe, moving on, is now in charge of things. So people might be sort of saying conflicts of interest with Nice. He's in charge of the footballing side. And when you look at UEFA, the rules, competitions and everything, it's the football side of it where the competition is. So maybe people are looking into it, trying to stir things up, trying to get things going. But I honestly do not believe that Sir Jim Ratcliffe hasn't done his due diligence, that there's no conflict of interest between United and Nice.
Yeah, he's still a co-owner. He's not the majority owner. I know what you're saying about him on paper, being in charge of like the football strategy, etc. But I go back to when he done an interview back in February, and he was asked about this situation with UEFA, and he said there are no circumstances upon which an ownership of Nice would prevent Manchester United from playing in the Champions League. I'll be crystal clear on that, Sir Jim Ratcliffe said, because we would have to find a solution. The rules are changing, and the rules are shades of grey, not black and white. We have spoken to UEFA, and I have to say the conversation wasn't directed at, you have to solve this problem and we don't like this or that. We might have to change some things, But what UEFA recognises is that the multi-club model, in many circumstances, benefits the smaller club quite a lot. And that's what he had to say back in February on that.
Well, you have to say, he's clear on it. The multi-club benefits the smaller club. So I don't think he's got any worries there.
Yeah.
He's had no red flags shouted at him to his face or his company or anything to sort of alert him to this is going to jeopardise Manchester United going into Europe. And any rules and all that, they're working round it, they're talking round it, and he doesn't see any red flags. And none of that's... And what it is, you have to look at it and say, have UEFA come to him and gone, hey, you're not on here?
Yeah.
No, they haven't. And he's just talking to him, and they'll be able to work around it. He's confident, so I don't see any problems here.
Yeah, like you said before, you'd have expected him to do his due diligence, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, he's done his due diligence. Yeah. He's asked the questions, he's spoken about it, conversations have gone on about it, and he doesn't see any red flags because none have been brought up to him by the relevant authorities, UEFA. If there was a problem, they would have said.
Yeah, I've got to remind ourselves as well, this is actually the Sun newspaper reporting that, so you know what they're like. They don't really like reporting the truth a lot of the time, did he? And you've always got to think, you know, inside Manchester United now, with Ineos, the way they conduct business, they'll be miles ahead than what these reporters are currently reporting on as well. They're so far behind.
The miles ahead. The conversations, they've not just had one conversation, they've had dialogue, and the dialogue has been amicable and no red flags. And that's how you look at it.
Yeah, a lot of people in the chat getting involved with like the new stadium, whether they want a new build, renovating Old Trafford. Also a little bit of a discussion about the UEFA ban. But anything to add before we go?
No, it's all complicated, right? This UEFA ban, right? And it's all complicated with the new stadium. And it's just a matter of waiting and seeing, let the dust settle. And I think by the time the summer comes, they'll start to flatten some of the ground behind there, some of the businesses, and they'll start looking at it.
The way Sir Jim Ratcliffe as well, the impression you get when he talks about things, what he wants to do with Manchester United, is in a rush, is in a hurry.
Yes.
And you can understand that with certain things going around him, his age, etc. But I'd expect to hear something in the next few weeks, few months, on what a decision is based on whether they're renovating Old Trafford, refurbishing Old Trafford, or building a new state-of-the-art stadium.
You've got to remember, it's not long till the end of the season, then the summer's here. So it's going to be there. And you have to look at Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his words and what he wants. He wants the Wembley of the North. That's why I do believe it's going to be a ground. What you have to look at is all the businesses behind there. That's the first thing what will happen. They will be knocked down, and I think they will start to be knocked down once the summer's here, and then all the car parking and all that can be moved.
Yeah, totally agree. Just like to thank everyone for getting involved today in the chat and watching us. If you've enjoyed the video or you'd like to support the channel, just leave a like on the video, and we'll be back tomorrow with another live, so hopefully you can come and join us and get involved again. You enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.